Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, it's all about football. You'll be trying to move the ball against your opponent down the field, gaining first downs, and eventually scoring. Now you'll be playing cards in this fast-paced game that simulates the exciting 2-minute drill of football. Pick 6 is the most thrilling 2-minute drill in a bag. It's for 2 or 4 players, using 2 teams of 2, and it's for ages 13 and up. Now today we'll be doing a rule school where I'll teach you how to set up and play the game so that you don't have to read the rulebook yourself. Now I placed timestamps below me in the description of this video just in case you want to jump to a specific section of the rules. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Pick 6 is the most thrilling 2-minute drill in a bag, 2-player tactical card game where you're trying to score touchdowns and field goals to get more points than your opponent. Players will be selecting their formation and their play through a huddle card, and they'll be secretly picking which of these plays with their audible card. But they'll also be secretly picking their action card. And depending on what the 2 players selected, different things will happen, like offensive winning the down and looking at the results table. Then based upon the secret play that they selected, certain things will happen. Like in this case, either an interception if the defense had won the down, or gaining by rolling dice if the offense had won. There's a quick 2-minute drill version to help you learn the game quickly, but in the full game, there adds more strategy like snapping the ball before the defense is ready, or even changing your huddle or formation at the last moment. Pick 6 will keep you guessing what your opponent's doing with their tactical card play, but adding some dice to evening the playing field, and it fits in a nice portable pouch. To set up, you're going to separate out the game into 6 different decks. The pink is the kicking team, the purple is the receiving team. These decks you can just put off to the side, you'll be using these a little bit later. Now each player is going to get a light blue offensive deck and a dark blue defensive deck. So this will be one player's and this will be the other player's. These are actually identical between the 2 players. For example, in each player's light blue offensive deck, they'll have these 12 identical cards. They'll have shotgun formation and shotgun huddle, pistol formation, pistol huddle, pro set formation, pro set huddle, a real and dummy audible, which essentially is a black and white helmet, and these 4 light blue action cards, hot read, pump fake, snap, and timeout. You want to make sure each player has these 12 cards in their light blue offensive deck. And you'll want to do the same for the identical dark blue defensive deck for both teams. Each deck is going to consist of dime formation and dime huddle, nickel formation, nickel huddle, 4-3 formation, 4-3 huddle, a real and dummy audible cards, and these 4 dark blue action cards, read, pass rush, blitz, and timeout. You'll also find 4 different dice and a timer. You can place those off to the side for now. Once each player has their offense and defense deck, you're going to set up the field position board in between the 2 players. You're going to place this football marker on the 20-yard line of the first player that will be offense. You figure that out by just flipping a coin. Then you're going to take the red 4-sided die and you're going to place it with the number 1 up, and you're going to place it on the 30-yard line. This shows how far you need to go to get a first down. It's always going to be 10 yards from where the ball is on first down. So if you start on 20, you're going to place it on the 30. Give each player one of these player aids, which has an offense and defense action card results and the play results on there. Off to the side, you can place this player aid. There's only one of them, but it's for both players. It's the kickoff and onside kick results and the special teams 4th down results chart. You'll be referring to this later in the game. You'll then place the line of scrimmage board like this in between the 2 players. This is where the cards are going to be played throughout the game. The object of the game is to be the first to get 10 points. You'll be getting those points mainly by moving the ball down the field and possibly scoring a touchdown for 7 points, or by getting close and kicking a field goal for 3 points. Now there's 2 different ways to play the game: the 2-minute drill, which helps you learn the game, and then the regular game. We highly recommend that you start with the 2-minute drill, which we'll start going over now. Players are going to be playing cards on this scrimmage board, and each of those times they do that, it's going to be known as a play or a down. Now the offensive player is playing cards trying to outwit the defensive player to move the ball down the field and score a touchdown. Now they have 4 plays or downs to get to where the red die is, and it starts 10 yards away from where the first down starts. So they have 4 downs to get to here to continue getting another 4 sets of downs but they are really trying to get all the way down here to score a touchdown. Now the first thing that will happen is a defensive player is going to play a card face up on the formation and the huddle section of the board. Now here are the 3 sets of formation and huddle cards that the defensive player has. Now in this 2-minute drill version, you're going to play a matching set, meaning 4-3 formation and 4-3 huddle go together, the nickel and nickel go together, and the dime and dime go together. They're going to select one of these 3 pairs and place it face up on that board. So let's say that player selected 4-3 formation and huddle. Now normally, because this player is sitting on the opposite side of the table, their cards are going to be played facing themselves, but for the ease of the video and teaching this, I'm going to put their cards facing the camera as well. Now basically what this means is that this player is going to be able to select between one of these 2 plays, zone or corner blitz. The formation card is a set with this, 4-3 and 4-3. It doesn't have too much to do with the 2-minute drill game, but it does help you get used to learning the game. This will become more important when we teach you the regular game later. Now when you're first learning the game, you can take your time. Once you know the game, if you choose to, you can use the timer. And each player has this 30-second timer to select their formation and huddle play. Once the defense has set their play, the offense will do the same. They have 3 sets of formation and huddle cards: pro set, pistol, and shotgun. This player is going to select one of those pairs and put it on their side of the board. And so that player selected pistol formation and pistol huddle. They're going to be able to select from those 2 plays. So once both players have their formation and huddle cards out, both players are going to simultaneously select an audible card, but they're going to place it face down. Now both players, offense and defense, have the same cards, real audible or dummy audible. And these are basically a black or white helmet, and essentially they are picking their play, either the white helmet or the black helmet. So at this point it might look something like this. Then each player simultaneously will place face down an action card on that section of the board. Now the offensive cards look like this. They're the light blue ones, and the defensive ones are like that. They're the dark blue ones. So once both players have selected, it might look something like this. Then both players will flip up their action card, and you're going to see who wins the down, offense or defense. Now the cards usually stay right here, and then you will refer to this player aid that we showed you earlier, but I'm going to zoom in and put these cards right next to this so it's easier to explain what happens. So the offensive player played pump fake and the defensive player played pass rush. So you're going to find that combination here, and it's right here, pump fake and pass rush. In this case, offensive wins the down, and you're going to use this results chart here. But we got to see which plays were selected from the audibles. To do that, both players are now going to flip up their audible cards, and both of them selected the black helmet, the real audible. So the defense has corner blitz, and the offense has ghost to the post. So let's see how this resolves. So we're going to look on the chart for ghost to the post versus corner blitz, and it's right here. Now, we know that the offensive won this down from what we previously just saw, and that's the light blue. So from where we see these 2 cards together, we're going to see the light blue is going to happen. So the offense is going to gain 5 yards, plus they're going to be able to roll this 12-sided die. However, even if these 2 plays were selected, but the defense would have won the action cards, then the defense would have caused a loss of 3 yards. So that's how you read this chart. But in this case, the offensive won, so you're going to gain 5 and roll the 12-sided die. So first they're going to gain the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if that was the end and they weren't rolling the die, this would now be second down, and you would have flipped this up to here because they did not get to at least where that first down marker was. But in this case, they're going to roll the 12-sided die, and they're going to get 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like this. And so now that you've met or passed this red down marker die, you're going to now place it 10 yards ahead of this. So it goes from 33 to 43, and you're going to always place it with the 1 face up because it is now first down again. After each play, the players are going to take their cards back into their hands. And then they'll start all over with a new down. Now in the previous down, we saw that the offense had won the down, and the light blue is the one we'll look at for the matching cards. It's going to help the offense. But of course, there's things when the defense will win, depending on the action cards, and that will result in the play results with the dark blue, which is going to help the defense. Now there are some that say use scramble rules, and when one of these 2 combinations is met, the scramble rules are going to be either for the defense or the offense, depending on which combination was played on those action cards. And those rules are at the bottom of that player aid, where depending on who won, the offense or defense, that player is going to roll the 12-sided die. If it's the defense that won, this will show you how much yardage the offensive team loses, meaning going backwards on the field. And if it's the offensive team that had won, it goes to Scramble Rules, the offensive team would roll this 12-sided die, and they would gain that many yards that they rolled. Now there are some things from the play results chart that will also have you roll dice, and sometimes not. Like sometimes you'll just gain 10 or lose 2, something like that. Other times it will have you gain and then roll dice as we saw earlier. Sometimes it will just have you roll the 2 20-sided dice like this. There's 2 black dice, and you would roll both of these if this was the specific result for this play. And sometimes some special things will happen, like just an incomplete pass that just means it's the next down and the football does not move at all. Other times it could be a pick, which is an interception, and the defense now will get the ball and be able to be the offense. And you'll follow the rules that are on this kickoff or onside kicks results chart, because it actually has a section here that says pick rules. And so what this says is the offense rolls the same as they had won the down to make it the distance of the pass. So if they had been picked, they would actually roll what was here for this specific play result. So they would roll the 2 20-sided dice to see what the distance of the pass was. So let's say they rolled and it was 15. So in this case, the ball would have went 15 yards from the 33, so it would have went all the way to the 48. And then the defense rolls 2 20-sided dice for the return. Let's say they roll the 2 20s and they get 25. And so those 25 from the 48, again, they're going in the opposite direction, is going to come to the 23-yard line. Now that defensive player is now the offensive player, so you're going to set up the new first down for them, and it's going to be 10 yards from here, so from the 23 to the 13, and you're going to place that on the first down, and now they're going in this direction, very close to scoring a touchdown. Now, sometimes the defense will cause a fumble. The fumble rules are just above the pick rules on that player aid we just showed. The defense will roll the 12-sided die first, and then the offensive player will. Whoever has the highest number rolled will gain possession of the football, so in this case it could be either team's ball. And then they will advance the ball in the direction that they're going by the amount that that die is. So for example, if the defense rolled a 4 and the offense rolled a 10, then the offense would keep the ball and they would advance the ball in their direction 10 yards. But let's say the defense rolled a 10 and then the offense rolled a 4. Well, the defense would now become the offense and move the ball 10 yards in their direction, which is the opposite direction it was just moving. Now sometimes an immediate score will happen. This is zone versus sprint right option. If the defense had won this down, it's going to be a pick 6, which means the defense intercepted the ball and scored a touchdown for 7 points. However, if the offensive team won this down, they would actually score immediately 7 points for a touchdown. We're going to go over in just a moment what happens after somebody scores. Now there's also spots that you may see where a specific combination has stars on there. And when that happens, that means if the winner of that down played a matching pair of both formation and huddle cards. Now in this version of the game, I mentioned you're always playing matching cards. So when you're playing the 2-minute drill, if the winner of the down is on one of these stars, in addition to this, they're also going to be able to roll the 12-sided die and add it to whatever the result is there. And that happens on any of the combinations that have stars on them. Now before we get into what happens after scoring with kicking and things like that, we're going to go over a 4th down. So let's say it was 3rd down and this player got this far. And so now at the end of that 3rd down, this is going to flip to the 4th down. Now this player can either try to go for it or they can try to kick and punt the ball to the other side of the field for the other player to be the offense. Now if they go for it and they do not get this, then the other team will take over wherever that ball is and start to be the offense going in that opposite direction. However, if that player wants to punt, they will take the pink deck, and the returning team, which is now the defense, is going to take the purple deck, and each of them is going to select that card and place it on the scrimmage board. And so those cards are going to be played in the same spot where the action cards would have been placed, just like that. Once they're placed face down, they both flip and they resolve. Now I'm not going to go over all these results. This player aid shows you depending on which card the punter or kicker played and which card the return or defense played. Depending on what they played, you'll follow the directions on the specific player aid. So when would you decide to punt versus going for a field goal? Well, you'd punt if it's 4th down and you don't think you're going to get to this or further and get another set of 4 downs, and you're far enough away that you could never kick a field goal. However, maybe you're close to the end zone and it's a little risky to try to get 3 yards on 4th down, and you'd like to kick the field goal for the 3 points. That's what you'd get if you successfully did it. That's why you'd kick a field goal. Now, if you score a field goal or a touchdown, a kickoff is then going to ensue. But before that happens, you'll keep track of the score on here with the score pad and pencil that's provided. The player kicking off places the football marker on the 35-yard line on their own side of the field. That player is either going to secretly select onside kick or kickoff and place it face down on their special teams section of the playboard. The receiving team is either going to select their return, recover, or fair catch card and place that on their special teams section. Then they'll be revealed by both players. And then they're going to roll one of the 20-sided dice. Then you'd add 45 to the die roll if you were doing a kickoff. If you're doing an onside kick, you use just the die roll. And then you're going to see what the result is depending on which cards were selected from each of the players. Now this continues back and forth until one player has scored 10 points, and then they are the winner. Now I'm going to go over the differences between a regular game and the 2-minute drill. So far we've done just the 2-minute drill, which helps you learn. And if you remember, when you play formation and huddle cards in the 2-minute drill, they always have to match. Dime formation and dime huddle, that first name has to match. However, in the regular game, they don't have to match. So we have dime formation and nickel huddle. We'll tell you in just a moment why this is the case. This is going to keep the offensive player guessing. Now remember, the defensive team is going to put these two up face up first, and then the offensive team is going to do the same. So let's say the offensive player selects pistol formation and shotgun huddle. Also a mismatch, not the same formation and huddle card. Now keep in mind that, again, if you want to, you can have a 30-second timer be for each player as they're selecting their cards. Now, normally, if you remember in the 2-minute drill in this case, both players would simultaneously place an audible card face down here. And this can still happen right now. However, if the offensive player likes what they see here, they can play the snap card where the audible is face up, and this means that this play is going to happen. And when this happens, both players are going to play the A play, which is the white helmet play. So at this point, both players are also going to select an action card. And these would get resolved as normal. Once they're ready, they would get flipped over, and we have hot read versus blitz. And so in this case, hot read versus blitz, the offensive wins, and you'd go to scramble rules like normal. Otherwise, you'd look at the results as normal as well. However, let's say this happened again in a future round. Some different cards here were played. The snap was done. We reveal we have hot read versus read. And this means that the offensive wins, and you look at the play results chart, and we have sprint right option versus safety blitz, and they'd gain two 20-sided dice. Now, if you remember during the 2-minute drill, here with the stars, and if you played a match, you'd also get to roll a 12-sided die. However, in this case, since you didn't have a match, you would not get that extra bonus. So then why would you do a mismatch? Well, if once the offensive player also plays their formation and huddle cards, if the defensive player plays an audible card face down before the offensive player plays snap, then that offensive player now has to play an audible card here as well. Then you go through a second round of this same down, where now the defensive player can either keep this the same, or they can change these cards. For example, they might want to match now. Instead of dime formation, they might put a nickel formation to try to match because maybe they want to get that extra bonus. Or instead of having the nickel huddle, maybe they put dime huddle because maybe they want to match, or they don't even have to match. They could put a completely different card there that matches, that still doesn't match. It's totally up to them. But then the offensive player has a chance to swap the cards out if they want to, and then players can optionally change their audible card, changing the play that they have. They can also attempt to fake out the opponent by placing the same card face down. This just gives an extra layer of strategy of, cat and mouse trying to guess what the other player might be doing. And the other big change is instead of just playing to 10 points, you can play for an agreed time limit, and then whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. Well, I hope this helped you dive right into Pick 6 and get to the fun quicker than you normally would if you had to read the rulebook yourself. Now, if you have further questions about the rules, I've placed a link below me in the description of this video. And that's the best place to ask them, since I'll be notified, but so will the creator of Pick 6.